No, we haven't. My name is Melanie Morgan, and I'm one of the 5 women who have made allegations against Senator Franken. And we are here to demand that he resign and to express our outrage.
So we're not official spokespeople for the senator? So
I understand that, but we want to see...
Is there one here?
I just called back, so I can call again?
No, we'd love to see him.
Okay.
We don't need him hiding behind closed doors. This is too important.
This is absolutely too important.
And since we're not spokespeople, can you guys please stop recording?
Sure.
You're doing your job.
All right, so here you can keep recording on me. I'm here today, I'm Melanie Morgan, I'm here today to demand that Senator Franken resign. I'm part of the Media Equality Project. Brian Maloney is my partner. We have brought to Washington some of the victims of Bill Clinton's harassment, as you can see, Kathleen Willey, Juanita Broderick, and Leslie Milwee, who is joining us as well. And we are here to demand that both Senator Franken and Congressman Conyers resign their position. And we are waiting to see if we're going to get any sort of answer or response from, well, the senator says he can't come speak to us right now, or he's not available, or something, whatever. But we are waiting to see if there's a communication team that will respond to our outrage. The senator says that he wanted to go home and spend 8 days thinking about things. Well, we want to know what he thinks right now. Does he remember me, first of all? I'm the one who was harassed by him 17 years ago on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher. He has never even referred to me, let alone apologized to me, let alone any of these other women like Leanne Tweeden and others. So this is what we're here to do today. Let's see what happens, shall we?
Tell us again, Kathleen, what happened between you and Franken 17 years ago?
17 years ago, I was invited to participate in a roundtable political discussion on Bill Maher, the show before it went to HBO. I was invited as a radio talk show host. My name is Melanie Morgan, and I was invited to have this conversation with Senator Franken, at which time he was an unfunny comedian. And he and I got into a discussion about some budget numbers. He didn't like my answers and started arguing with me. He followed me back to the green room after the show was over and continued to get in my face and my space, tried to intimidate me, and this went on for a period of time. Finally, I left, and I was shocked to discover that just a few days later, he was calling my home phone number and engaging in long, rambling, incoherent discussions with me. I had no idea what he was even trying to say, but he kept arguing with me. And finally, after 3 successive days of this, I had to demand that he stop calling me, or I was going to call the police. And that was what finally stopped it. Now we know, and I came forward with my story because at that time, Leanne Tweeden had made her allegations against Senator Franken, and Senator Franken refused. He said that he has a fuzzy recall of what happened and doesn't remember anything else or any of the details, but if somebody was offended, he was sorry. Well, I think he was sorry he was caught. I'm sorry that he doesn't seem to remember some very vital details of his own personal history. But you know what? We're going to refresh his memory. And with us are going to be some other women who have had some very unpleasant experiences with other powerful political men. And I think it's time for him to, kind of think about things. What do you guys think?
I agree. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, it's time.
It's time.
Whether he's calling for the communications people or the security people.
Oh, well, that'd be interesting to know. Are you calling security on us, or are you calling the communications people?
Oh, interesting. Did he call security? I don't know. Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to...
Another helper here.
All right. Senator Franken, come on out. Come on out and talk to us. Don't be a coward. Speak to us. We have something to say to you. I think you should have something to say to us.
Good for you.
Who's funding his paychecks, Melanie?
I think that would be us, the United States taxpayers. We're signing his paycheck. He's accountable to us. He is in the people's house. He is our representative. He is not above the law and beyond the law.
Is his name on that slush fund? Is he one of the people that's...
That's a question that we would really like to ask his communications person. Is Al Franken's name on that slush fund? Did he pay off anybody else? If so, how much money did he pay out? Who are the names of the people who have made these accusations against him? These are all questions that we would like to ask Senator Franken.
Oh, great. Here they come.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Melanie Morgan.
Hi, Chief Monica.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
I am one of the women who stepped forward against Senator Al Franken, and we're here to demand, along with Kathleen Willey and Juanita Broderick, that Senator Franken resign. We'd like to talk to him about that.
So he's not available right now, but would be happy to take the message and pass it along.
Is he in a meeting right now at this moment? Is that what it is? Is he in the Senate floor? What's going on?
He has a busy day, as he always does, and so he's just not
So
available.
he's too busy to speak to us.
He's just not available right now.
Well,
But that's not good enough.
Wouldn't you
We're
say
happy
though,
to-
when he's got a group of women in his office, and with all the sexual predator allegations, everything going on, that Matt Lowery having, booting out today, don't you think that this is of priority?
Very
That
happy-
maybe he
very
can take a
happy to
couple minutes
very
out of
happy
his
to take
day?
information from you.
All right,
No, not
here's the
information.
information that I'd like for you to give him. Senator Franken has never apologized to me. He harassed me and stalked me 17 years ago. And I'd like for you to know that I demand an apology, but more importantly, I'll pass on the apology if he resigns. He needs to leave office right now. He and Congressman Conyers both. The Media Equality Project has held a news conference today to explain our position on this. If you would like to know more about it, we would be happy to share our videotape with you. But the bottom line is he's got to go.
I think that they called security on us
security.
to ask us
I'd be
to
very
All right,
happy to.
turn the cameras around, everybody. Here's comes security.
Well, ask him to apologize to the nation instead of the empty words that we've gotten from him. He's talking about him. It's all about Al Franken. It's not about his victim. If he hadn't gotten caught, he would never be apologizing.
I'm happy to pass the message.
Are you going to evict us from his office? Oh, is he worried about a bunch of women now at this point in time? That's pretty amusing.
Well, no, it's just a place of business, so they have
Well,
to be
we
able
had
to.
some
We
business.
had the
We
people's
paid for
business.
this
You do.
This is our business.
I'm just making sure there's no disorderly conduct or anything going on.
We're
That's it.
not having any disorderly conduct.
So if you guys could just keep it down to some low professional business level, everything will be fine.
That's what we're doing.
That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you
Were
for your service.
called to come to get us out? Was that when I saw you calling?
We were actually just down the hallway. We saw the bags sitting out here, and we were just concerned about the bags. So
Well, you can tell Al Franken hello from Melanie Morgan. He might not remember me, but I sure remember him very clearly. 17 years later. Sexual harassment
Melanie,
is...
why don't you make an appointment to have a schedule for Mr. Franken to call you and to officially
That's an
apologize?
excellent idea. I needed an apology after all these years since he's refused to acknowledge anything that
And
I've
since you're
talked
going to
about
be doing
publicly.
Sean Hannity soon, it would be nice to
Tonight,
know that
yes.
Mr.
I'll be
Franken
calling
would
for his
call you.
resignation again tonight on national television, so that would be
Right.
a very appropriate timing.
Juanita
Do you have a
Broderick
card?
right back
Maybe I
there.
can give you my phone number. Senator Al Franken, here we go. Wait a minute, the last time I gave him my phone number, he called me for 3 days stalking me.
Well, then he had to call you right away.
Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
What is the Media Equalizer Project?
So I'm Brian Maloney, Malony, of the Media Equality Project, which I co-founded with Melanie Morgan earlier this year. And what you've just seen is our organization, along with Bill Clinton's victims and members of the media, confronting Senator Al Franken in his office, where Melanie Morgan demanded that he resign from office immediately. His staff then called security in an attempt to have us removed, but the security didn't remove us. They just kind of chuckled. They thought it was kind of so, but they tried to use intimidation tactics against us, but it failed. And the women who are Clinton victims who were here, Juanita Broderick, Kathleen Willey, and others who were here as part of the group, were courageous. Melanie Morgan was absolutely courageous in going after, taking it right to Franken. He was in the office but refused to see us, wouldn't take an appointment to see us, so he was behind the wall essentially, refusing to come out. So his aides wouldn't. They said they would relay a message, but that's the best they would do, and it was just an amazing moment. It really was. But I think this is the beginning of the end for Al Franken, and I think he should expect a lot more of this to come.
It's funny that the press conference we held earlier at the National Press Club addressing all of these the sexual harassment issues with Franken and Conyers, there were just 20 people in the room. There wasn't much press there covering it. Why do you think that
We
is?
had Fox News and others covering it, but yeah, I mean the mainstream media networks are not interested in this story. They're interested in defending Franken. They're interested in protecting him and keeping him in office despite whatever revelations come out. And it's getting harder and harder for them to do as more and more women come forward.
Is this what's your next step? Right? What's ahead?
Well, we're going to keep the pressure up in any way that we can. I mean, I think we've sent a loud message today. I think Melanie Morgan was particularly courageous in confronting Franken right on his own turf there, but that's also the people's turf. That's the people's office in the U.S. Senate building here. And they certainly weren't acting like we were citizens of this country with a right to be there and a right to address a U.S. senator. They certainly weren't acting that way in any way. They treated us like hostile infiltrators or a security threat, and we were very calm people. And so I think that we're going to continue this kind of thing until Senator Franken does in fact resign.